Sahana vavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to everyone. We welcome everyone for the satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are doing now the first item is the study circle. We are doing on Gita Vahini, the commentary written by our Lord Sai on Bhagavad Gita. So we are going to continue on chapter 5. If you have the book, it is page 40. And if you have the electronic copy, it is page 24. So last week we talked about, so just you want to summarize what we talked last week, or you want me, if you want, I can add or I can summarize too. You can prepare. Okay, if not, I will let you know what we discussed. Whenever we do the Gita, few things, any scriptures, we should remember there is three kinds of meanings. One is a literal meaning, just literal translation in Sanskrit, what it is. And there is a inner meaning, that is called bhavartham. And there is highest meaning called paramartham. In Sanskrit, it's called pratipadartham, literal meaning, and bhavartham, the inner meaning, and the highest meaning, divine meaning, which great masters and avatars give. So Swami, I gave the example last few weeks we talked about. One is, so everybody says ma phaleshu, and Swami says people call it na phaleshu. You are not entitled to the fruits of action. That is wrong. It is Swami, Krishna didn't say na phaleshu. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu. That means willingly you give the fruits of action, because the law of karma is as you sow, you reap. There is no doubt, except God can make an exception. By His grace, He can burn. Otherwise, we all have to. It is all the great message. Jesus said, as you see, you reap, and Buddha, everybody, theory of karma theory. So that is where the beauty of Vedanta is. Always people blame somebody else. Oh, there he did this world. So they say, Vedanta, you are responsible for your own, including your own birth. Where you were born, so people say, parents, my God, are terrible. You chose them. So according to, because not willingly and whatever is what the scripture says, because of your karmic background, that situation will be good for your further development or regression, whatever it is. So that is what involves. So ma phaleshu, that is the inner meaning is. So it is willingly you dedicate all your thoughts, words, and deed to God, then this karma won't bind you. Otherwise, karma will bind you. Good, good, bad, bad. And second thing we do that whenever you do any work, two things are nicely Swami said. Sangha buddhi, sama buddhi. So when you do with the feeling of attachment to the results, attachment to anything for that matter, except attachment to God. That is not attachment. So you should not do with Sangha buddhi, but you should do sama buddhi. That is equal-mindedness, always in the pairs of opposites. That is what we talked about in all these major 4 chapters. Chapter 2, where he talks about Sthita Prajna, which we are going through, man of steady wisdom, how does he behave? I said Sloka 54 to 72, you should read. Second thing is similar qualities of a Bhakta in chapter 12, Sloka 13 to 20th. And chapter 13, that is the Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, where the qualities of a Jnani, Sloka 8 to 12. And then 14th chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, how a man bound by 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, we all are bound, how they behave, that is from 21 to 25. All of them reflect how to behave in Samabuddhi. Every place there's some equal in profit, loss, gain, goal, criticism, praise, blame, success, failure. They give all the pairs of opposite and no attachment. So actually in chapter 12 it says, Asaktir anabhishwanga putradara gruhadishu. Don't be scared. So in the mind, that means don't be attached to your children, putra, dara, your spouse, and gruhad, your house. Take care of it, but don't get too much attached to what is happening. So you need to have a kind of detachment, trusteeship. Asaktir anavishwanga putradara grihadish nityancha samachitatvam. So that's samabuddhi we should have. Then, and also they say they have that always try to have a little bit solitude, quietness. They're not anxious for social gatherings, big parties. So they are more inward path. They try to say more nivritti marga rather than pavritti marga. Instead of outgoing, you go inward. So these are the, and fourth, another most important we discussed is important shloka, ananyas chintayanto mam, where everybody gives explanation, thinking nobody yet, yes, but God. That means that is good explanation up to a point. That means think only about gods, Krishna, Rama, Swami. But Swami gave higher meaning. Ananya means you should realize there is nothing else exists other than God. We always think there's something else, because when he says everything, everywhere, ever is me. So every atom, every cell, and every moment is permeated by God. So which is they're not composed of atoms, cells, all human beings, animals, plants, everything has cells. And atoms, even carpet, microphone, there is nothing but atoms in everything. That means everything is permeated by God. That is the real Ananya Bhakti. That means to see nothing but divine in everything. So that is why even Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, who is a great devotee, he says one who worships Krishna. That is very good. But Lord Krishna says higher than that is who sees all gods and goddesses as Lord Krishna. That means whether you go to Makkah, or you go to Jerusalem, or you go to Bethlehem, you go to Kashi or Shirdi, Patti, anywhere you go, it is the same God manifest in all these forms. You have that conviction. But higher than that is the guy who sees God in all human beings. Everybody, man, woman, child, old man, your so-called enemy, friend, everybody is his. But the highest is the one who sees God in everything, everywhere, whether you see mountain, whether you see a river, whether you see a tree, whether you see forest, and whether you see a crow, whether you see actually if you read Rudram, that is why people should read carefully. Everything, he says, vanchate, parivanchate, the cheater, and the greatest cheater is God. So if you can see that, then nothing will affect you. Taskaranam Patya, he is the chief of thieves. So when you just see him in everything, then you think, well, God, this is all the play of God. More and more we practice that. That he says, Lord Krishna says, Uddhava, he is a Bhagavatottama. Bhagavata means devotee. Bhagavatottama means supreme devotee is the one who goes to this higher stage. That is why these points are very important. We just don't take it regularly. All innermost meaning God gives. And last week we talked about Sthita Prajna. Who is a Sthita Prajna? So Arjuna asked the question, that is why Shloka 54, who is a Sthita Prajna? That is a good seeker. How does he behave? How does he talk? How does he sit? What is his way behavior? And then the Lord Krishna answers. The first thing, the last week we talked, that one, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyev atmana tushta sthita prajnasya vochyate. The one, yada kaman sarvan, all desires, he completely is master. He gets rid of all that. That's what Swami says. First thing is negative things. Get rid of all these desires, except the desire for God. Sarvan, he didn't say few desires get here. Swami is kind. He says healing and desires. Otherwise, people say they won't come to see God. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogadan. Krishna says all the desires get rid of them. So then what you should do, atmanyeva atmanatishta, you are very rejoice in yourself. Here, Swami has beautiful explanation. One is get rid of all the desires. Positive process is to develop attachment to God. Negative is get rid of all the qualities. Then what will happen? You will become a sthita prajna. Actually, Swami wrote a beautiful thing. We wrote it about Sathya Dharma Shanti Premalato Ni Niche. Swami himself composed it. He himself sang it. And that is the essence of all Vedanta. Just few verses he summarized. There, in Telugu, I think, Krishna, you know that, Hudaya bhumulu sagu cheyandi. He says, cultivate your heart. And he says, Brahmananda me pandedi panta. What is the crop? Here Swami says, the crop you will get is Brahmananda. Why the farmer till the land, develop the land? To get a crop, good crop, right? That is why the farmers do that. Here, the crop a spiritual seeker should expect is Brahmanandam. You are living in the highest bliss. But how do you do that? Hridaya bhumulu sagu cheyandi. Cultivate your heart with what? Vivekamanu chalakolanu tisi. Vivekam, fundamental discrimination is the chalakodu. And then వివేకం చూసి విశాలమగు మీ హృదయముద్దున్నాడు. Make your heart that thing with a large, make it your heart enlarge or become not big heart, that is cardiomegaly, but it is fill it with love. Manchi eruga. What is the fertilizer you go and use that? When you're, so how beautifully Swami says you are developing a crop of Brahmananda, bliss. For that you need to put a fertilizer when you are tilling. Is the dhairyam, that means courage. No fear, everything. I am the child of God. I am devotee of Lord Sai. Nothing will happen to me. I will reach the goal. You manava dhairyame manchi eruga. Prema dharale panta vittuluga. So just you should sow the seeds of love. So just love is the main seed. Bhakte varshamu. What is the rain? Devotion is the rain. So you should have that devotion. And bhavame kalupulu. These bad thoughts, negative thoughts, they are the weeds. You remove them. Then Brahmananda me pandedi panta. Then you will get the crop of Brahmananda. So for that, you use this discrimination, detachment, have a lot of love for God, remove all the negative qualities. So it's nicely gave the example of a farming and raising a crop, which people can understand. That is the beauty of the great masters. They give the commonest example. So that is why, and that is sthita qualities of a sthita prajna. So there we talked. Now we can continue on that page 40 from there, unless anybody else wants to add any other comments.
Prajahati kaman sarvan manogatan, that is in the manas. That is the most important thing. You have to remove the desires. The other
because the mind is the mana. That is what the most important is mind. Yeah, mana ye manushyanam karanam bandha moksha. Mind is responsible. We repeatedly say is responsible for bondage and liberation. Also, he says it is like a key. Turn towards the world. What happens? You get attachment, bondage, joy, and grief and bondage. You turn toward the other side, your happiness and liberation and locking and unlocking. It looks very simple, but we need to constantly monitor. But mind, we think Swami says, first stage is still the mind. You should need to calm. Always mind does this. I want to jump next time. So after 8:30, what should we do? 9, what will happen? So mind goes on, sankalpa, vikalpa, it goes on planning, jumping. That is why 7 said monkey mind, goes on thinking. So first you need to watch this mind. Hey, what is happening? First watch the mind. Then once you watch it, hey, this is happening, you still the mind. Just, hey, don't go into all these things still. Then finally Swami says, kill the mind. It looks very cruel. That means you won't have any more mano nasha. It is Sanskrit word. The closest is, that means eliminate the mind, because that is responsible for the bondage. So how do you do that? What is mind? What is bundle of thoughts? That's all thoughts. If you remove, that is why Swami gives the beautiful example. You have a handkerchief, so you can, anybody can. What does handkerchief have? Threads, right? So many threads they put together. You remove thread one by one, one by one, one by one. Say it's 2,000. What happens? There is no more handkerchief, right? So we have handkerchief is because so many of the threads. Each time you remove a thread, all the threads gone. There is no more handkerchief. Similarly, the mind, where these thoughts go on, like you made 1,000 thoughts, make it 100, 110, 10 to do. Not finally it doesn't exist. Then there's no more. You're directly in touch with the Atma, your highest reality. That is what Swami makes the highest truth in with the handkerchief. These things, I remember something suddenly brought up about the handkerchief. I gave this talk in front of Swami. How with handkerchief, Swami made many messages. One is this thing. Second thing, Swami said, people say spirituality is very hard, But Swami said, holding the handkerchief is hard. Let go is easy. Similarly, holding on to something, let go is always easy, or getting attached is the hard. And another thing Swami says, this handkerchief is white, but after using it, after a while, it gets dirty, right? Originally, it is white. When you give to the dhobi, what happens? He removes the dirt, that's all. Similarly, Swami says, we are all pure. What the Guru does is, he removes that impurities we have so that we know our purity. Even with the handkerchief, the same thing. And another example, Swami gave the handkerchief. What is handkerchief originally? It is cotton, right? From the cotton, only threads come. And from the threads, you make the handkerchief. So essentially, cotton, thread, and handkerchief are same substance. In different, first cotton is no form, it has no, next it becomes a form of threads. Then it becomes handkerchief. What all exists is that cotton, Brahman, which became as threads and handkerchief. Similarly, this whole world, these three things, cotton, thread, and handkerchief, the world, the Brahman, which is Supreme God, and the Jiva, the embodied being, because that's all we see in the world, right? The Prakriti, always people around us, animals, plants, mountains, rivers, towns, all that. That is Prakriti, nature, our world. And we ourselves, beings, second thing. And third is Brahman, who is everything. So all the three are same, the way it is manifesting. It is the Supreme Brahman which manifests as the world, which manifests as the thing. So see the unity behind thing. So just with the handkerchief. And another thing, Swami said, handkerchief, you go and put in a colored water, red colored water, becomes red cloth, right? You put a blue colored water, it is blue cloth. That is called yadbhavam tadbhavati. You go on thinking, I am a sinner, I am no good, you will become that. I am Brahman, yadbhavam tadbhavati, I am Brahman, I am the Supreme. Then you will become that. So just go on immersing himself in the thoughts. That is the explanation Swami gave for that. Another time Swami said, this is all I shared in front. So for example, Krishna I can see. Now, can I see Krishna? No, I can't, because this handkerchief is hiding. Similarly, God is always in front of us. But this Maya, this negativity hides us to see God face to face. So that is the problem. So just we need to get rid of that. Another example, Swami, the handkerchief. Whenever you go in the India particularly, you go to a place, you don't know whether it's sure it is dirty or clean. You put your nice handkerchief and put it on the floor and sit it. Good place, right? Otherwise, you got dirty place, you don't. Similarly, God sit in a pure heart, where the pure handkerchief, you have pure heart. He sits. He doesn't look at the other places. Like there's so many things, simple things. That is why great masters with the handkerchief, so many highest truths they transmit. We need to remember that. Anyway, I just it brought it about mind, so just and that thought came to me. So just think. Okay, go ahead. Huh? Yes. So then we talked about the other examples. Okay, go ahead.
And also, Sairam, one more thing. Last satsang, Saranagati principle, to complete surrender, not a half surrender or to watch. So the first thing to be conquered is kama, the demon of desire. For this, it is unnecessary to wage a huge war. It is also unnecessary to use pleasing words to persuade the desire to disappear. Desires will not disappear for fear of one, for favor of the other. Desires are objective. They belong to the category of seen, with the conviction that I am the seer only, not the seen. The Sthita Prajna releases himself from detachment. By this means, he conquers desire. You must watch the working of the mind from outside it. You should not get involved in it. That is the meaning of this discipline. The faculty of mind is a strong current of electricity. It has to be watched from a distance and not contacted or touched. Touch it, you are reduced to ashes. So too, contact and attachment give the chance for the mind to ruin you. The further you are from it, the better. By skillful methods, you have to make the best of it for your own welfare. The bliss with the Sthita Prajna is immersed in does not arise from external objects. He has no need of them either. Ananda is in everyone as part of his very nature. Those with the pure consciousness find the highest bliss in realization of their own reality, the Atma. That joy is swasampadhyam, self-earned to say. It is known only to the individual. It is self-evident. There is a lot of one of the best principle concept that Swami brought here. We talked about already about the mind, but he brought about the seen and the seer. Seen is I'm seeing the flower, and that seen, but the seer is the Atma, he brought it. And the beautifully flower and also the mind is comparing with the current, the electricity, like a material, like a product. It's an instrument. It's not me. So the seen and seer, this Drishya Viveka, this understanding, this Viveka is the powerful thing. Once you see that seen is separate from me, that's how Sthita Prajna detaches him or herself. And that I is the true I, that's my nature, that's the Atma. And Swami also uses swasampadhyam. Is that almost like self-earned, but that's self-evident. That reflects onto what I see as a flower. Same way even I see as my mind. So I just watch that mind from outside, whether it's anger or the divine qualities or the negative qualities. either way, not attached.
This is what you mentioned. I don't need passing mention. I don't know how many of you got it. It's called Druk Drishya Viveka. Druk is Drishti, and Drishya is what you see. We have human being. Whatever we have, see something, and we are the seer. But the real seer is that I principle. So the whole thing is the Adi Shankara, who is the Advaitic master. He composed, I think, around 32 slokas on Drigdrishya Viveka. What is seer? And the whole secret of realizing the truth is to see, is it real or the I real? This whole world, what you see is unreal. Tadrushyam tannashyam, Swami says. Whatever you see one day or go is going to change. Even the cities we have seen, Rome was there at one time gone, and you saw the Indian civilization, Harappa or some other one time with the great civilization gone. So civilizations, people, everything, whatever you see in the world, including the people, mountains, rivers, one time they were there, one time will be gone. But that I principle, whether it is whoever it is, I, when you say, what do you see? I see. I see everything. That I is common to all. That is the Drishya Vivek. That you need to see who is that I. That is what Bhagavan Ramana always, he goes to the root principle. He's asked, Bhagavan, how do you get liberation? Who is that I who wants liberation? Just find out. It's not easy, but for us, Swami showed the bhakti path. So that Drigdrisha Viveka, try to see the difference between the seer and seen. That is the ultimate path of discrimination. But in a common way, this is another thing. Swami is explaining this whole thing about desire. There is a beautiful analysis. We did that before in Krishna. That's why Swami is going one. First is explanation is the Prajahati Yada Kaman. This one is how does the desire come? He says you'll go to ashes. He's warning like you'll be destroyed. He says, Swami, if you're current with that, you'll be ashes. That means this is same thing Lord Krishna says. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsas Sangasteshu Jayate. First, you get interested in a thing. Somebody says, oh, that car is good, or that house, or that place to go. Dhyayato Vishayan. First, you get the object. Then you get interested. Pumsas Sangha. If you didn't hear about it, you won't be interested. As you see, billboard, you get this, or you get this new iPhone, something like that. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsas Sangas Teshu Vajayate. Sangas Sanjayate Kamaha. Once you see that, then interest, then you have desire. Kama, I want to have that. Kamat krodho bijayate. Once you have desire, if it doesn't fulfill, a lot of time, 50% of our desire maybe more, you won't get fulfilled. Then you get frustrated, you get resentment, you get angry. Pumsa sangaito kama kamat krodhot bhavati. What happens when you get angry? Krodhat bhavati samohat. You just deluded, you just confused, you samohat smuti vibhrama. Once you get confused because an angry man, Swami says, is then your judgment goes away. Smruti bhramshat buddhinasho. Once that is gone, all your faculties are gone. Intellect, buddhinasha. Buddhinasha pranashyati. Pranashyati means you're destroyed. So just the downfall, he's telling how you get the desire because of the interest in the sense object. Because of that, if it doesn't get fulfilled, you get angry. When you get angry, your judgment, faculties, everything is gone. You know how people, recently somebody was telling me, I don't watch news, I don't know, one judge, how he's a judge, but he killed his own wife, a doctor who was through the whole family in some valley or something. So people tell. That means when they are angry, they don't know what they are doing to themselves and others. Your judgment is gone and your discrimination is gone, and that is the end of the story. That means your distraction. Vinashat pranashyati. So he's telling you will be destroyed. So you need to tackle it, the root of the problem. That is why these great masters showed how to live the way, like Ramana and Nisargadatta Maharaj, and Swami Vivekananda, Brahmananda. I mean, there are many, many great saints and sages in India and around the world, in great masters. Even I was surprised in Russian thing, they are called desert masters, desert fathers. They wrote book. So they will be just walking the desert, are always in communion with the highest truth. So that is main thing is they do the self-analysis. What is the problem? So once we analyze that, we can minimize our things. Ultimate stage is to reach that stage of Brahmananda where we don't have that, but it's not practical for many people. At least try to get that. This is a very common and important daily problem. Anybody has any comments or questions before we proceed? If somebody has comments or question,
This is a common
comment.
comment. Whenever Swami would materialize Vibhuti, he gave the opportunity to his students and devotees to offer a handkerchief to him to wipe his hand. So many people have got this opportunity to offer a handkerchief to Swami. It seemed like a message where Swami is saying, if you have the desire to offer up your clean handkerchief, that is your pure mind to God, I'll wipe my Vibhuti, meaning glory, onto it. After that, a simple handkerchief would become worthy of worship. The mind, when applied with the Vibhuti, divine glory of God, becomes worshipable. Just wanted to share.
Good. That's a good angle. Haima actually, whenever we have the Swami's interview, so she always jumps into, and Swami just materializes, gives to everybody, gives the handkerchief. I don't know how many she collected, but she gave it to many, many people. She always likes to collect it, so many, because on some people, because it's got touched by God, it is so precious. They put in the altar and they worship. So one man, I remember, a nephrologist in Swami's hospital, he worked there so long, never had that close. When we gave that handkerchief, he was crying. So, this is the blissful time of my life, this touch by God. So we don't take it. So that is a good point, that when it's sanctified by God, it becomes thing of worship. So that is another way to look at it. So good. So, but anyway, the desires we can't, but main thing is make the desires Godward. As I said, he said, destroy the desires, whatever we want to have. Just you want to see some divine things. So want to hear about bhajans, divine music, divine stories, like that. Whatever the sense organs, you can turn towards God. A stage finally will come, even that it doesn't disappear. It doesn't matter. Yadrucha labha santushto. That whatever happens, that time he is happy. Even something, that is why we start the Gunatraya Vibhaga. Prakashancha pravrutincha mohamevacha parthava. Nadveshti sampravruttani narivruttani kancha. The highest man, Gunatita. First we go to Tamas, to Rajas, to Sattva. But the highest guy, he doesn't care what happens, Sattva, Tamas. He's in the stage of Brahmanda, bliss. That is the stage to progress. But we have to start someplace. First to become from Tamas to Rajas and Rajas to Sattvic, and finally go to Gunatita. Okay. You can.
Since Arjuna had not known this, Krishna had to clarify it in simple terms in the 56th, 57th, and 58th slokas. Joy or grief can be met within three forms. Adhyatmika, sufferings due to mind, psyche. Adibhautika, suffering due to elements. Adidaivika, suffering due to demigods. It is well known that sins bring grief as a retribution, and meritorious deeds bring joy as reward. So advice is given to avoid sins and perform meritorious deeds. But the Sthitaprajna, a steady wisdom individual, knows neither the pain of grief or the thrill of joy. He's not repulsed by one or attracted by the other. He will not retreat before pain or run forward towards pleasure. Only those who are ignorant of Atma will exalt or droop when stricken by joy or grief. I'm just gonna, because these are the three beautiful things to remember. Our joy and grief, we could divide into three compartments, three forms. Adhyatmika, which comes within our own, either the body-wise, as a physical, mental health issues, or all that, or we create our own adhyatmika. Adibhautika, that comes from the other elements like the animals, like COVID, or all those come under adibhautika. And adidhaivika, adhyatmika, adibhautika, adidhaivika, these are the huge calamities that nature brings it. At least my understanding is because of these three, we say three shantis, right?
Very good. I was about to say that you covered it. And why we say Shanti is for that.
Right.
That means first Shanti is to get rid of any afflictions because of our own wrongdoing through the body, mind, or intellect. These are the three instruments for the body, mind. So we make mistakes, we get troubles because our body gets sickness, our mind gets agitated, or sickness. Any of that causes pain. So you do that. That is adhyatmika. Just adhibhautika is from outside. It could be our own family members could be giving us trouble. Your so-called friends may be giving trouble, or as you said, animals may be giving trouble. Some places they may have termites or ants, anything rats. All these things is outside for that shanti. Adi Daivika is only destined, like all these earthquakes, hurricanes, and volcanoes, and all these things. Like even the other day, it shows that hurricane. What was they said predicted 4, right? And I told them it won't happen. So Swami, if you pray, it will disappear. It happened in Vizag about 25 years ago. There was a big hurricane in Vizag, Andhra Pradesh. They said they will, and all the people prayed, and that just the direction changed. So even the hurricane, these are all God made. If you pray to God intensely, you can change that too. So that is the Daivika, so earthquakes, the hurricanes and floods and fire, all these are the Adidaivika. So these are the three kinds of afflictions we go through that. That is why saying that three Shantis would protect us from that. That is a good point. So whenever we chant anything, we should know why we chant instead of mechanically doing that. But even this happens that Sitaprajna doesn't get disturbed. He's always, because he's Nandati, Nandati, Nandatyeva. There is a beautifully said. He's always rejoice. That is why they call Nandi. Nandi is the vehicle for Lord Shiva, right? Because he's always happy. Why is it always happy? Is Nandi, anybody see Nandi? She sees only Lord Shiva. Even Garutman is a vehicle goes and anybody. But Nandi doesn't look this side or that side. Always it will be looking only towards Lord Shiva. And the only time I saw Nandi not looking at Shiva was only one place. But that place where there is a great saint, Shaivite saint, who is untouchable. In those days they used to call. Tirupangur. I went there. So this guy is untouchable. So they won't allow him those days to go to Shiva. He's such a great Shiva Bhakta. And finally God himself comes to him. So he goes to this temple and Shiva, he cannot see the Shiva within the compound. From there outside itself he want to see Lord Shiva. But then this Nandi is there upstairs. He cannot see. He says, Lord, I want to see you. These people, for human, don't allow. And this Nandi is also preventing me to see. Please, Nandi, you just move aside. And Nandi moves aside and he sees Shiva. So even now, that is the only place I saw Shiva laying there. This Nandi is a little
Nandi
bit
is
to that.
not straight. Nandi is
Not straight, is one side. You can't. So because he is always happy.
Such a huge Nandi to move.
Yeah, so because that even intense devotion he had, that he is, that's why there's a great saint. He is one of the 9 Mar saints. He is Nandanar. So he's, that is why if you want to see something, the movies you want to see, that's the Nandanar movie is very good. It is very uplifting, but is in Tamil. I don't think it is in but you can see the subtitle or somebody can express how those people have that intense devotion that even Nandi listens. Otherwise, Nandi is just focused on only Lord Shiva. Okay, I think any other question? If not, we can conclude. Anybody else? Any comments? Okay, so we'll conclude and continue next week.